Alors, rebonjour, nous sommes toujours à Confoo. Je suis avec Gary Aran, avec Matt Emonetti et avec Marc-André Cournoyer. On est la gang de Ruby de Confoo, les Rubinistas, je sais pas comment on dit ça en français. Et puis...
les snobs.
Ah ouais, on s'est fait dire que les gens de Ruby sont très snobs. On a l'air snob, hein? Puis, on va faire ça aussi Montreal style. Alors, en français, en anglais, on change au plaisir. Peut-être, Matt, tu peux commencer. C'est toi qui as ouvert la journée ce matin.
Oui, donc ce matin, j'ai fait une présentation sur MacRuby. MacRuby est une implémentation de Ruby sur l'environnement Objective-C qui te permet d'écrire des applications natives Coco pour macOS en Ruby et de manière très très performante.
Et puis, c'est un projet qui est supporté par Apple.
C'est un projet d'Apple.
Okay.
Donc, c'est Apple qui produit la majorité du code et c'est eux qui sont derrière. C'est un projet open source.
Fait que, c'est bien intéressant ce matin de voir que c'était complètement bindé avec tout ce qui vient dans OS 10. L'hardware, les outils, les librairies natives.
Absolument.
Donc, c'est pas du Ruby pour le web, c'est du Ruby pour le desktop.
C'est Ruby à un autre niveau.
Oui, oui. Puis cet après-midi, Marc-André, tu as fait une présentation sur Asynchronous Processing.
Oui, c'est ça. J'ai conçu un serveur qui s'appelle Tin pour les applications Ruby. Puis, il y a des choses dans Tin qui n'étaient pas souvent utilisées ou qui ne sont pas utilisées pour déployer ou pour améliorer les performances de l'application. Fait que je voulais présenter ça un peu, montrer aux gens d'autres façons qu'on présente typiquement dans les conférences, là, qui est juste ajouter plus de machines. Je voulais me concentrer un peu plus sur comment améliorer les performances juste d'une application Rails, juste d'une application Ruby.
Okay. Puis, Gary, qui est notre représentant de la communauté officielle appointé.
Ouais, en gros, je suis ici parce que j'ai assisté aux présentations Ruby aujourd'hui. J'ai trouvé vraiment que la qualité des présentations était hors pair. Matt nous vient des États-Unis pour faire ses présentations. Et en fait, ça a été très bien accueilli. On a vu des fonctionnalités de Ruby que beaucoup de personnes ne connaissaient pas. Et on a vu vraiment que Ruby, c'était quelque chose pour l'avenir. Puis d'avoir du monde comme Matt ici à Montréal, ça démontre vraiment que Montréal est devenu un hub plutôt que juste un petit point fondu sur la carte.
And maybe we can switch to English, but the other presentation that you did this afternoon was really interesting, was Rails for non-Ruby developer.
Yeah.
So we had lots of PHP guys, obviously, this being born from PHP Quebec. So there was lots of PHP developers. So how was your experience on presenting Rails to a bunch of PHP guys?
I think it's really interesting because it brings me back to a few years back when I was doing other languages than Ruby, and I was looking into Ruby. I was like, this is an interesting project, and there's this Rails framework that people are talking about. It was not really out yet, so there was not this huge hype. But I started discovering, and for me, it really changed my life. I mean, this is what I do now for a living. But I'm really interested in seeing how people come to the project and how they come to the language and what they like, what they don't like. Why are they interested in switching? What don't they like in PHP that they might like better in Ruby? What maybe they might miss stuff from PHP in Ruby so we can make things better.
Yeah.
And I think Rails is really a framework that brings a lot of stuff, but it can only bring what the community can bring. And we need to enlarge this community, and we need to get more people from different communities to bring that knowledge.
Yeah, and I think that this event is really nice because it's also part of Ruby and Rails to learn from the other good things that happens in other languages. We actually tried to get a Rasmus quote for Rails.
Actually, I tweeted about that. I spoke to Rasmus just before the Intro to Rails presentation, and he told me, and I quote, Ruby is great. So I tweeted about it, and when I told him about it, I'm not sure if I heard him say it right, but I think he called me an asshole or something.
Or something. Anything else that you guys find interesting today that you've liked, or other talks that you've been to during the day?
Yeah, for me it's actually my first time in Quebec. It's my first time in Canada.
Bienvenue.
And I thought it was a very interesting experience. First, you have a beautiful city here in Montreal. A lot of good food, nice people. The conference was really great. The talks were good. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people were good. And I really hope to see more Ruby next year.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking forward to the other talks in the next few days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned, you just mentioned that it was a good way to get people to talk cross-framework, cross-languages. The sheer scope, the sheer scale, sorry, of the presentations, we had 8 tracks going at once. We had some JavaScript, we had some web technologies like web standards, we had some PHP, some Python, some .NET. We had a little
scaling,
bit... And scaling, we
no
had
SQL,
no SQL.
a few things about, yeah.
We had a lot of the things like the memes of the day, essentially, with scaling, which is a big thing. And we had all these people talking about how they approach those problems. And for the PHP crew to talk to the Python crew, to talk to the .NET crew, to talk to the Rails crew, we can all go back home with a better idea of what we should do in the future.
Yeah. So another thing that I found pretty interesting about this conference is it's not only about technology. So people will go have a drink a bit later. We can go out, and also I find it really nice that when I discovered my first big web conferences were all in San Francisco mostly, and I was amazed about the level of sharing. You would have the top engineers from Google and from Yahoo. They had a problem to solve. They would just talk together and try to solve it. And I really feel that this vibe is present now in Montreal. And obviously the local community, we're so happy to just be good hosts and welcome everyone that's coming in. It's a bunch of volunteers, so not everything's perfect, but I was really impressed by the sheer amount of visitors coming in and the energy of everything. So
yeah, we had people representing Google, PHP guys as well, Facebook. The scale and scope of the presentations were just amazing.
Yeah, I think next year we could probably double the Ruby track. You guys think we can do that?
Sure. We had a couple of people over lunch asking us about Ruby and everything and Rails, and I think one of the nice thing is that because people don't learn about Ruby that much in school, but they did hear about it on the web or something, but they do want to learn about Ruby on Rails. So the Matt presentation for Ruby beginners was very popular, and I think that's a good sign that people want to learn about this. So definitely should be more information.
What you're forgetting is that your talk was actually totally full. I had to stand during your talk. So
yeah, but there's room for advanced and beginner talks.
Absolutely. That's my point. There's really a room for everything. My talk, which was an intro talk, was quite popular, but yours, which was quite advanced, was also crowded.
Yeah.
So you really have a community that needs.
Yeah, we definitely have some very good programmers, Ruby programmers, and other Python programmers, good PHP programmers in Montreal. So.
Yeah, and this morning, maybe in closing, we had 2 other really popular presentation. There was Le Grand Club RDS, which is a huge social network that's been built in Rails by Pheromone here, an agency in Montreal. And the other one by Michael Blay on blending NoSQL and SQL was really nicely done too. So.
I saw those presentations as well, high quality content, and to see some huge projects come out of Montreal. There's a lot of them. Unbeknownst to most, Montreal is a porn hub, and there's actually lots of large-scale websites, fetish websites that actually run here in Montreal, and some of them are on Rails. I'm asked to cut that short.
Porn on Rails. Oh no!
Come on, can we name this stream "There Will Be Porn"?
Merci beaucoup. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.